I threw away a ton of my houseplants, including my most prized monstera. I'm not happy about it, but here's why. In April of 2021, I bought a Rhaphidophora from a local plant shop in Toronto, and about a month later, I noticed that a lot of the new growth was dying and it was covered in little black bugs. These bugs are called thrips. They're a pretty common houseplant pest, and they've been the bane of my plant's existence for the last 3 years. Here are some of the plants that I've had to throw in the garbage. My burro's tail that flowered, nearly all of these plants that I was trying to propagate, like my Monstera acacoyagoensis, my Monstera peru, a Cebu blue pothos, lots of Epiprenum yellow flame cuttings, a few Philodendron atabapoense cuttings, some Mandula pothos, and even this massive marble queen cutting that I had to throw away most of. This is what I was doing for the last 3 years to try to manage my thrips infestation. I was trying to isolate the plants, but this doesn't work well because thrips do fly, and eventually they got into all of the rooms of my condo and infected pretty much everything. I was spraying with insecticidal soaps and using alcohol-based sprays, but this wasn't an effective method because I had to cover 100% of all of my plants and all of the foliage for this to be effective. These sprays just dry out the exoskeleton of the bugs, so if you're not hitting them directly, they basically get to fly off scot-free. Also, thrips lay eggs inside of the plant tissue of the leaves, so while they're inside the leaves, any topical treatment is basically ineffective. And if their eggs are hatching every 2 to 4 days, that means at least every 4 days I should be spraying 100% of my plants, hitting 100% of the foliage to get all of the new hatchlings that come out of their eggs. Even for the modest size of my collection, taking all my plants into the shower to spray them basically adds up to another part-time job. And especially treating a plant at this size means that I have to move it out of its space onto a tarp or something like that to protect my floors when I'm spraying it off. And this plant, especially when it's wet, can weigh up to like 80 pounds or something like that, and it's just not something that I'm going to be doing every time, and it's not something that I have the patience for. Beneficial bugs are a great natural way to manage the thrips in your collection. There's different kind of bugs that will eat different stages of thrips in their development. And when their food source, the thrips, are low, these predator bugs will just die off. But low does not mean gone. What people online tend to not tell you is that thrips will just go dormant if the vibes are off. Too many insecticides, thrips will just sleep it off. If there's a lot of predator bugs around, thrips will just hide in the soil. They hibernate, they lull you into a false sense of security that all of the thrips are gone, and come springtime, they just reemerge and start to reinfect all of your plants. With beneficial bugs to be truly effective, you need to reapply them every month. And this costs money, so I figure, hey, I'm blessed to the point where YouTube is paying me to make videos, so why don't I use some of that money to invest in these predator bugs and see if they have an actual effect. So here's all the bugs that I purchased in 2024. January 24th, February 21st, April 6th, May 21st, June 16th, July 7th, July 15th, July 29th. Geez, thrips really do love the summertime. August 20th, September 8th, September 17th, and finally November 1st, for a grand total of $1,400 in a year with nothing to show for it. Type bad job in the comments, okay? Type I hope this was a tax write-off in the comments, please. So everything I've been doing is just strictly management. Management to keep the thrips population low, and management to reduce the damage on my plant collection. But obviously without unlimited time and unlimited money, a lot of these management strategies are just going to fail. Especially if you have a large collection, you're either going to burn out or just run out of money. So I pretty much need a near complete reset. A lot of my plants are getting cut up, and my worst infected plants just have to get thrown out. Nearly everything is going into propagation jars, stuck in a giant Ziploc bag, and I'm gonna spray them with every pest spray that I own. With no soil, the pupal stage of thrips, they have nowhere to hide, and with no decaying plant matter, they also have nothing to feed off of. With most of my plants in plastic bags, I can spray the plants directly, close the bag so they have nowhere to fly off to, and with everything sealed up, all of the adult thrips will hopefully just die off. To get the not so obvious out of the way, if you didn't know, I live in Canada and two of the most effective chemical pesticides are banned. That's imidacloprid and spinosad. So something like bonide systemic granules, that's a poison that is slowly absorbed by the plant, and Captain Jack's dead bug brew, which is sprayed onto the plants, are both not available to me. These two are both systemic pesticides that attack the central nervous system of thrips and kill them off. After 2 months in bags, subject to harsh isopropyl alcohol and insecticidal spray, some of my plants made it, and others, well, they kind of just turned to sludge, but that's fine because my strongest plants will survive, and now that I have significantly reduced my collection, it's so much more manageable. The harsh reality of most pest issues is just to isolate your plants or remove them completely from your collection. There's only a certain amount of time one person can dedicate to managing pests, and that becomes nearly impossible if you have a very large collection. As the summer gets closer, I may have new pests that will infest my collection again, but now that I have a much smaller collection, managing that becomes so much easier. And as for my giant monstera, yeah, I'll miss it, but I have a Tycon now, and this is a year of growth coming from this pot, so I think I'll be fine. I'll be okay.